Welcome back to another episode of Tell the Tape. It's episode number 11. Today we're going to be joined by Coach David Baskin. He's the assistant coach at Fairmont Heights High School in PG County. Coach Baskin, we're the same age, and this guy, he knows a lot about basketball, so I'm excited to have him on here. He's always willing to share. He's always just been there. When the six man first started, he gave me a lot of advice on a few things. All right, there he is right there. Yo, man. What it do, Soup?
Nothing much. You gotta excuse me, man. I'm trying to get food for the kids and everything.
Hey, happy Father's Day, first and foremost.
Same to you, man. Same to you.
Nah, I get it. It's crazy. It's crazy, especially when the kid's hungry.
Yeah, man. They ran me down for the Popeyes, so I'm in line over in Eastover and I'll be out. You know what I'm saying? So trying to handle that right now.
Hey, man, you good. I'm just glad you could join us today, man.
Nah, definitely.
All right, man. I know, like most coaches we've had on here, I know it was a wild ending to the season at Fairmont. Everything shut down. Tell us how that was for you. Like, how did the team take it, once the news came?
So it was kind of funny. We actually had just finished the regional championship game. So just won that game against Harvard of Gray. So we're having our potluck, kind of end of season potluck. Just have our family come together and fellowship just last time before we get ready to go to States.
Yeah.
So I think that was Thursday night, Thursday before the States playoffs, which is Friday. This was Wednesday night. Thursday we had them.
Yeah.
Well, you know how it was. But anyway,
yeah.
So we kind of saw how things were playing now, how other counties were kind of canceling things and other states were canceling things. So at that point, we kind of were just playing things, see how things were going to go. Right when right when we get ready to end, kind of wrap things up, they put out a little a release, and the release was just saying that we're gonna still have the state playoffs, but you can't have, but certain amount of people, your fans come only administrators, two parents, and no other family members or other fans could come.
Right.
So we were kind of running around that whole night, kind of like stressing to see if there were any loopholes, like if somebody's family didn't want to come, could somebody else show up and things like that. So that was the whole night, and then so that was Wednesday. So then Thursday, I'm kind of checking out all the other classes, seeing seeing how Polly's getting ready to go.
Yeah.
So I know I was checking on Twitter to see what they were going to say, and lo and behold, they said Polly got on the bus, and then they said that they had to get off the bus and they weren't going to play. So once I saw that happen, I was like, oh, I know this is not going to happen for us.
Yeah.
So I guess the way the kids took it, of course everybody wants to play basketball. You see now people still kind of going against the grain a little bit and still just kind of going out there and doing it. So I think a lot of our seniors took it the worst way. 1483. A lot of our seniors took it the worst way. I think our underclassmen, they kind of saw it as like a wake up call. Like let's be real. Like this ball can stop bouncing at any moment. Like it could be the end of it. So other than that, that's just the very thing.
Yeah. Like I didn't get to catch you guys this season, but I got a chance to talk to you at the PG County Challenge that y'all hosted. Mm-hmm. And can we talked about like the up and downs of the season. What was the message going into the postseason for the team?
The message for us going into the postseason was basically starting fresh. Like everything that happened in the regular season, we had to kind of forget that. Although we had some minimal success as far as I won't say minimal success. We had some success as far as being able to win some quality games versus some quality teams. We played a very good Oxon Hill team that we ended up beating. A good Sorrento team that actually went deep into their playoff run. Yeah. So if we had a couple real quality good games, it was a stretch in the season where we ended up dropping almost 5 games in a row. So I think, like I said, going into the playoffs, it's kind of just forget everything else that happened in the past. Let's just focus on what we can control, and that was going into the playoffs, and that was with that.
Cool. I wanted to talk to you about, you were a football player in high school,
right?
And you got to see both sides. You got to see the public school and the private side of it. Can you elaborate on some of the differences that you saw immediately once you left DeMath and went to Oxon Hill?
Well, the first thing I can say is the facilities were completely different. Now, granted, DeMath is not one of those, It's not like an IMG per se where they have like, like brand new state of the art facility, but I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
you could just kind of see out the gate, like they had more than one, squat rack. They had more than one like bench press machine. Like it was just, I mean, small things like that. And, they had more like, you got the Oxon Hill. They had, I mean, a lot of great coaches that, that took a lot of quality time and put, a lot of, things into the program. Then these guys weren't getting paid, per se.
Yeah.
But, at the private school level, like they had, a guy that was specifically there for training. I got specifically there for weightlifting, somebody there for nutrition. So it was like, it was a little more, some being bought in, to the program versus, the public school level where they kind of, the resources aren't as strong as, the private school level.
Got you. And the reason I asked that, because, again, like what I was saying earlier, like you're a guy who knows, like, the in and outs of sports, especially in our area. And something I just, like, we haven't seen each other in a while, something I just wanted to ask, like, what do you think would take, I mean, of course, the academic side of it, the resources, but what else would it take to get a lot of the top talent in the area to stay at their home school?
Well, this is one thing I'll say. I mean, you kind of got to play within the rules. We all know that public school is strictly prohibited to recruit.
Right.
But if you like, and I'll use the area that I live in. I live in Oxon Hill. You know what I'm saying? And I know I'm not going to speak for what any other program or what any other program does, anything like that. But you look at a kid like a Corey Dyches. If I'm at an Oxon Hill or a Potomac, and I know this kid lives within my boundaries, like I'm going to make a conscious effort to, reach out to the parents, let them know the strength of public school, like what we have to offer this kid, or whatever kid. So they're not just saying, okay, writing us off automatically and saying we're going to go to public school, because what ends up happening a lot of times that a lot of kids will go to these private schools and jumping out there. And there's nothing wrong with that, because, I mean, you got to test yourself and see where you at. But a lot of times they end up right back at public school, whereas they could have, started out public school, maybe did a year or two, got their grades up, and then, took that step to see if they were, academically ready and athletically ready.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like you said, just from the Oxon Hill area, you could throw for Washington in there. The amount of kids just from those two towns that go to private school is amazing. And,
Definitely.
I tell people all the time, like, between Fort Washington and Oxon, Friendly and Oxon Hill could have powerhouse programs because so much talent is at private school, which is nothing wrong, because, like you said, you got kids going to do what's best for them, parents going to make that decision. But it's just amazing how much talent is right there, and they're a lot of times you don't see it because you don't know the kid is at school in Virginia or at one of the WCAC schools or anything like that.
Right.
All right, so play football. Going into college, did you still stay around like football, basketball while you were in college? Like, what did you do to stay around both sports?
It's funny. Like I said, growing up, I would say I played football. Football was something that was actually probably a little bit better at because of my size and my like little intangibles I had for football. But basketball was something that I just always had a love for and a passion for. So, when I got to college, it was kind of funny. Like at first I kind of told myself I was going to eventually try to walk on and play college football, but some things kind of didn't go my way, and then just being at college and actually having a moment to not have to do any sports, just actually focus on academics, I just decided not to do that. So with that being said, like I took a lot of time, coming back home, and I would go to basketball games or go to football games and just check out the local talent that was, that was behind, like a year or so behind me, or like even like 3 or 4 years behind me, just to keep up with everything and see where, if I really want to do this, because like I said, I tell a lot of people all the time, one of my old coaches, and shout out to Coach James Parker, like he told me I was gonna be a basketball coach when I was 12 years old. I'll be 29 on Friday, like, and this is one of the things, like I said, like you look at 12-year-olds. I'm not trying to be a coach. I'm trying to be, the next LeBron or the next, KD or Kawhi or whatever like that. So, like this, for a lot of dudes, and a lot of dudes that are, they'll jump into coaching and start doing this thing. But this is kind of like embedded to me. Like I've been kind of looking at this stuff for like 10, 15 years.
Yeah. And again, shout out to Parker. I tell people all the time, like his influence on the game of basketball in the area is crazy. How many people
It's so crazy, and it's actually, I think it's actually underrated because a lot of people don't know that. Like even not even just on the I guess the high school level, like he coached a lot of kids like growing up, like I'm saying from boys clubs to even like AAU and things like that. So like by
Yeah,
the time they got to high school, a lot of those dudes, I'm saying they went other places and then like you know what I'm saying they making somebody not saying making somebody else look good, but like I'm saying like these kids a lot of these kids were known before they got to like where I'm saying where they were. I'll
yeah,
say that.
yeah, yeah. His reach is crazy. Like that's the best. Like his reach is crazy.
Definitely, definitely.
And jumping into that, so you're one of the founding members of the PYBL, right?
Right.
So how did that come about for you?
Um, it's another interesting story. I mean, Coach Parker, like I said, he was my coach since I was, I'm saying, 10, 11, 12 years old. So it was one of those things where we always kind of, you know what I'm saying, kept in contact as I got to, you know what I'm saying, I stopped playing for him. Maybe I got to like the 8th grade or so. So,
Yeah,
um, we always stayed in contact. You know what I'm saying? A lot of my friends still play with him, like AJ Thomas, Delano Washington, and guys like that. So that I always stayed in contact and kind of, I'm saying, follow what the, I'm saying, what his teams were always doing. So
uh-huh.
when I actually was getting ready to graduate, so not graduate from college, my second or third year in college, they were asking us to find like kind of a internship, something to do, like you know what I'm saying, that was part of your major.
Yeah,
And I knew he was, you know what I'm saying, coaching basketball, so I was like, it kind of just made sense to me to go back home and reach back out to him, you know what I'm saying, to my people that, you know what I'm saying, instilled in me. So I just reached back out to him, and he was like, man, I've been kind of waiting on you to come back and coach with me for a minute, so as soon as you get back home, just let me know what it is, we can set it up. So as soon as I got back home that summertime, I jumped right into it. I started coaching again with the Rebels.
yeah. Oh yeah, the rebels for sure.
So
And then
we did that for like maybe I think for a couple of years, and the whole time we're doing that, we're just thinking, like I said, he's touched a lot of different, you know what I'm saying, lives basketball wise, you know what I'm saying, in the area. So
uh,
you know what I'm saying, we're looking at all these teams, and we're going down to these nationals and these tournaments and stuff like that. We're realizing like a lot of the, you know what I'm saying, the top teams are from back home. And we're just like, you know what I'm saying, why are all these top teams consistently, you know what I'm saying, all these kids, parents, and families, like every single summertime, they're traveling to Memphis or LA or New York or Florida, anywhere, you know what I'm saying, in the United States, where, and realistically, we can keep all this talent at home and just play each other and beat up on each other back home and get better.
oh, we lost him for a quick second.
Because after that, we just kind of put it into fruition.
Yeah. And then, can you hear me? Oh yeah. So
Y'all can hear you, can hear me.
yeah, I got you. And then the amazing thing about the PYBL, like again, all that top talent is there, and before the 6-man started, y'all were already going and had a lot of things going on. I think we lost him for a second. Oh, I got you. All right. So y'all had a lot of things going on. Yeah. Could you hear what I was saying?
I'm sorry, say that one more time. I lost service a little bit.
No, I was just saying, like 6-man was starting up. Y'all were already, I think, 3 years in already because PYBL started 2013.
Right.
2013, and it was just amazing. Like for me, like I was fresh out of school, and then just seeing all the talent in the gym, and then like what you just said, all the talent was always traveling, and it was just amazing because from down Arlington, Loudoun County, all the way up to Baltimore,
Right.
the best players was right there. Then when I really got more into the scene, I'm really looking like, man, these not just the best players here; these the best players in the country, and they going at it every weekend. So I know like that's just always like the PYB. That's just a special thing going that I started putting the pieces together for the documentary, so we're gonna get that story told because a lot of people need to see that. A lot of people need to see that. Going through that, eventually you won 4 straight championships with your team. What
Right.
was that like?
It was. I'll say this. It started off as a little bit of a challenge. Like I said, the first season we started, we kind of lacking a lot of coaching. So I kind of just stepped in, and they asked me to say I had an option to either coach the DC team or the Southern Maryland team. They were the only 2 teams that, for some reason, that weren't filled for coaches.
Okay.
And the DC team was kind of pretty much filled. It had, Terrence Williams, Had Prentice Hub, had Jared Bynum, And for me, you know what I'm saying, being one of the members that kind of started the league, like, for me, it kind of been a conflict of interest, you know what I'm saying, if I would have went ahead and took the team that kind of was arguably already picked the winner to begin with. So,
Right.
you know, so I kind of took one of the chin and took the Southern Maryland team that, you know what I'm saying, that nobody really knew about, you know what I'm saying, kind of kids were kind of just filing in, and that's the team I decided to roll with.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what I'm saying, I took my lumps, you know what I'm saying, early with them. The first couple seasons, we had a one championship appearance, but we didn't quite, you know what I'm saying, get there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you can hear me. I might lose service for a second, but you know what I'm saying? After a while, like I just kind of figured, you know what I'm saying, it's time for me to start putting a little bit more work in and start recruiting these kids. Really get.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'm assuming they like what they saw, or you know what I'm saying, or just decided to give it a chance, and you know what I'm saying, a lot of stuff worked out. You know what I'm saying? I always wanted to, you know what I'm saying, give a shout out to Roland Kills and Trevor Kills' father, because he orchestrated a lot of, you know what I'm saying, a lot of the kids that came to that team for, you know what I'm saying, the first 3 championships, you know. So with that being said, like I said, we just after the first 2, you know what I'm saying, the kids started rolling in. Everybody wanted to play, and the talent got better, and everybody just made it happen.
Yeah, it was definitely a jump. Like Charles, they were off back to back, and then y'all did back to back. And I just remember, like, on the SM Cardi's page, Southern Maryland Cardi's page, like every week y'all was like, "Oh yeah, we loaded up," and it was just player after player after player, and it got real crazy, and it really definitely took off.
Believe it or not, we've had to turn down a lot of players that last year. You know, it was one of those situations where everybody won. You know what I'm saying? We kind of had a brand, and our brand was kind of like winning at that point. So everybody kind of just wanted to say, "Oh, we want to play with Coach Dave, Coach Driggs, and Coach Riggs, and Coach Kevo, and all of them, and Coach Debo. We want to roll with those guys." And it's like, in theory, like, yeah, we wanted to take all the best guys, but that wasn't necessarily realistic for, you know what I'm saying, what we were trying to do. You know, so a lot of people, so they'll see the, you know what I'm saying, they'll see the Doug on the team, and they'll see. End up in their work, like I'm saying, those kids put in work. Like Jamal Curtis, like he actually, like, he worked to be on that team. So you know,
yeah. And then also throughout that time, you PYBL being a basketball league, you also coached some great football players. Coach is breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, we had Anton Harris. You know, he's going to Oklahoma for football. Had a couple of other kids that played with us. I had some good division on football scholarships. EJ Ford, I know he's at Delaware State. Going to play football. So, you know, a lot of different kids, you know what I'm saying? Just a lot of different talents. It's kind of funny, you know, that we had so many football kids. And we always joke about it. We had so many football kids that actually played basketball for us. That a lot of people that would have never had known were football. I mean, basketball players, you know what I'm saying, I guess, to start with.
Right. And like you were naming some of the players that you coached, and I just think that was another special thing about the league. I mean, I'm sure all the coaches can attest to this. Like, you look at the players and, like, you know, some of them you could see, like, okay, this kid, they haven't even scratched the surface yet. They're going to be great. And then it's just some kids who right there, like, oh, they could play. And then they just take off. Like, what is it like coaching those kids and, like, building that relationship and seeing them from 6th, 7th, 8th grade? Now they're going off to colleges. Some of them in college already. What is that like, seeing that as a coach?
Well, I think it's real special. You know, I mean, you look at these kids and they were practically babies. You know what I'm saying, at one point. And, you know, they kind of, so you see them grow up. You know, I'm seeing them take their lumps, getting into high schools, and, you know what I'm saying, trying to crack their starting rosters. You know, some of them went straight ahead and went straight on to the team and started. But, you know, it's always special to see, you know what I'm saying, the path and journey they took from, you know what I'm saying, from 4 or 5 years ago to get to where they are now.
Yeah, it's definitely special. Like, I just remember, like, the first year I started following, y'all had the trio, Trevor, Bray, and Jew. And that was just so special, like seeing them actually like create a bond. Like, man, they not like, a lot of kids, especially when I say like when we were a couple, a lot of kids, they would have took like something like that for granted, but they like
No,
really
definitely.
will. They built a relationship and bond. It was like, hey, this is what we got to do to get our name out there. And they just played, even when they were, I think they was in the 7th grade that year, and they just went all out every single game. Like they went smack at everybody.
Well, I mean, I'll say that. I mean, even some of the parents, took it for granted because you got to remember that these kids in this juncture of the league, a lot of kids were kind of playing with, a lot of the AAU teammates because
Yeah,
it was, it was comfortable.
yeah,
I had kids from, I had kids from Takeover, kids from New World, kids from Premier, all, kind of meshed into one, one team. So,
yeah,
a lot of times people kind of frown at that, like, you're going to have my kid over there with over them Takeover kids, they're going to end up with Takeover, or you going to have them kids, my kids will Premier, and they're going to Premier, and it's like, nah, I mean, if you trust your coach, and you trust what I'm doing, you trust what your coach doing, and it should be no issue. Like, nobody's going to
right.
just jump ship unless there's something that's going wrong that you see that you want to change. So,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, a lot of parents, they kind of missed out on the opportunity from, getting to know somebody differently because they were so embedded in their, their grassroots program.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that was the thing about PYBL. Like, put the grassroots program aside. Like,
Yeah.
all the coaches, the schools you want your kids to go to, they're in this one gym. Like, just take all that bias, whatever your thoughts are, just put it to the side. And that was just a great thing to be there. Like, you had Murray there, you had Mather, you had Gonzaga, you just had everybody there, everybody. And it was just amazing to see. And then, like you said, some parents took it for granted, some didn't. And it still kind of panned out for everybody at the end of the day.
No, definitely.
Um, so PYBL, how did you transition to the Fairmont? How did that opportunity come to you?
It's actually, yeah, one of my parents from PYBL was actually a decent Premier parent, and Coach Chuck Henry was coaching Premier at the time, so
Okay.
he was looking for coaches, and I know from what they were saying that one of the parents reached out to Coach Chuck and was kind of like, yeah, I got a guy that's a young guy that wants to come out and coach, and Chuck reached out to me one weekend, one day, asked me to come to the gym, and this is when he was doing workouts over at Old Fordsville, so I went up to Old Fordsville and kind of checked out a lot of the Fairmont guys, and we just kind of hit it off from there. It's been lovely ever since.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, what, 2017? That was your first year, and then y'all went all the way that year, correct?
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, tell us what that was like. First year coming in, you build a great relationship with Coach Chuck. Were you nervous that year, or like what was that growing process like?
I wouldn't say nervous because like I said, a lot of kids that I had coached, previously were kind of, at that age at the time. So
Yeah.
by the time I got to that high school level, a lot of the kids were, I was used to coaching those kids at that age. So nervous, and I wouldn't say nervous, but it was a little, culture shock a little bit because you're talking about, public school kids from the Fairmont Heights area. A lot of the kids I had coached previously were kids that were getting ready to go to, private schools, like kids that came from, esteemed families a little bit,
Yeah.
And there's no knock on anybody from Fairmont at all, but it's just, it's a little different of a culture shock and climate change over there.
Right.
So
Right.
I had to kind of like, tone myself down, whereas I could kind of use choice words with Trevor, Jew, and Bray, and they would just understand, like, coach is trying to get us to win a game.
Yeah.
I use that with some of the kids over Fairmont. They kind of look at me like, yo, who are you talking to? Like, I'm like, I'm not nobody you're talking to like that. And it's like, so you kind of gotta like, pick and choose your battles and kind of like, adjust a little bit and adapt to the climate.
Mm-hmm. Well, did you know at the beginning of the year that that team had the potential to go all the way, or was it like gradually you saw throughout the season?
Initially, I didn't, but I kind of, you know how you kind of always get that feeling where you kind of just see where things are going to go.
Yeah.
That team, like I said, it was one of the situations where Fordsville had just shut down, so a lot of those kids from Fordsville were transferring into Fairmont. It was like a blended family, and it was like it was real crazy in the beginning because there was a lot of a lot of guys were clicked up. You could see that there was some differences on the team, but you could also see that, once some dudes put everything, focus in together, like they had a hell of a team. So it was one of those situations where I called it and it kind of worked out, Like if we lost the John, it would have been like, oh, you just talking shit, but I called and it worked out. So
Yeah, that was huge. That was huge. And then even following up the next year, y'all went right back, right?
yeah, we went right back. Ended up losing to a great Dunbar team in the state championship. So yeah, was able to get back, but just some little things that we didn't take care of as far as what I'm saying, kind of I guess being in a situation where we were expected to win. What I'm saying? All that whole season, everybody was telling me, even some of the guys that I know from Baltimore was like, "Oh, you guys gonna be easy. You guys got it." So we kind of got big headed a little bit and kind of got
Okay.
ahead of ourselves instead of just going in there with with a one track mind of taking care of business.
Mm-hmm. I mean, but at the end of the day, that's still tough though to win and go right back the next year. That's a tough
Oh
feat
yeah,
in public
definitely.
school. Yeah, get out because you had that. I mean, once you win that first one, you definitely got a target on your back. Team's
Yeah,
gonna give it their all.
buddy,
Definitely.
buddy. Everybody's gonna afford that next year.
And we talked about this when we first hopped on. This team right here, like everybody's season, it was cut short. But did you see any similarities between this team and the state championship team and the runner-up team?
One of the main similarities was, and it's funny, we had the regional championship game we played against Harvard Grace this year was the
Mm-hmm.
similar situation we played against Harvard Grace. And 3 years ago when that first team went to the championship. So
Okay.
it was one of those adversity situations where we had guys that we're going out to, I'm saying, almost middle of nowhere to play a game where
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
essentially we're playing against a whole town versus, I'm saying, you play a game at home, I'm saying, you kind of got a little bit of a different feel. So
Mm-hmm.
and that was the one thing that they're always full of adversity. I would say that this team had a little bit more depth as far as I'm saying being able to go down the roster. We had about 10 guys we could actually 10 11 guys we actually play at any given moment. But
Okay.
I'm saying that's as far as I'm saying similarities. They fought. My kids, they always fought.
Yeah, yeah, tough. Definitely had a tough team. Like you said, we talked. They definitely fought through it. Um, and we got you on. I want to talk about helping your kids go off to school. What is that as a coach on the staff? Like, what are some of your things that you do? Whether it's part of your responsibilities or something you do on your own. What are some of those things you do to help to get the players to the next level?
First off, we try to make sure the grades are straight. Because
Mm-hmm.
you can't do nothing without the grades, and our credibility is on the line at that point.
Right.
A lot of kids, they think just because we played, you can see played X amount of games for a coach, that coach owes you to get them into college, and like that's not the case at all. Like you played them games for yourself, so you can get yourself into college. So make sure you're doing the stuff on the back end. So the intangibles like your grades, you know what I'm saying, like your home life, you know what I'm saying, any other little things aren't anything that would stop you from getting to college. So if your grades aren't right, then we can't mess with you at all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's first and foremost. Once you get your grades situated, we had a little huddle service where throughout the season, it's kind of making you building your highlight tape as you go along. So once you get to the end of the season, your highlight tape is pretty much already done. You have
Mm-hmm.
plenty of game film that you can, ship off with a click of a couple of links. So
Yeah.
we had that always, on deck and ready to send off to coaches. And then just kind of just building relationships, talking to different coaches, just saying like what their team needs in the future, what their team needs now, how we can all help them.
Yeah. I know a few of you guys. I know one. I'm bad with names. I remember your shot now. One kid's going down St. Andrews, right? Is somebody going
St.
down
Augusta.
St. Augusta? I had wrong school. St. Augusta. St. Augusta.
Yeah,
And,
Darren Lucas White, yeah.
okay. Any other students going off to school this year?
Oh, I'm sorry, he's going this year. So we did have a kid on the St. Andrews. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
that's I'm sorry, I'm looking at his face right now. Daquan Thomas.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, he's going to St. Andrews.
Okay.
A couple other kids are going. I can't think of the name of the schools off the top of my head. I've been so wrapped up with a whole bunch of other things. But
Yeah. Yeah. No.
out of our 6 seniors, we have 4 are going to college to play basketball. We
Okay.
have one is going to Robert Morris. He actually just signed up right here. The guy that C1 RNCO, that's Clarence Field. So that's one
Okay.
of our guys. He's going over to Robert Morris, and then we're working on our last kid. He's trying to get a couple more grades situated, with the whole distance learning and everything. So once we get him situated, we'll get him off to college. So this year will be 100% in college.
Yeah, and that's a big thing. I don't think I think people tend to overlook like when it comes to coaches, like it goes way beyond like that season of basketball, like that season they end. But it's like it's so much work to do once that season ends, and just big respect, you and all the coaches who keep pushing for all the players.
Yeah, we say all the time the win loss record. That's always a good thing, but that's minimal for us. You know, our record is the percentage of how many kids we actually get out of, you know what I'm saying, Capitol Heights.
Yeah,
If we
yeah,
can, and if we can each year we can get at least 50-60% of the kids out of Capitol Heights, we feel like we've done at least part of our job.
right, right. A big part too, definitely. You went to Hampton, going to a HBCU, and I know like last year or two has really ramped up about kids going to HBCUs. What is your opinion on that?
I mean, I think it's a good thing. I mean, I think it's always a good thing to give them notoriety and give them the respect that they deserve because them dudes, they put in the
Mhm.
work just like everybody else. I mean,
Right,
there shouldn't be any knock on any HBCU dudes because you know, a lot of times kids want to go there, they think that that's just the option because that's a black school, I can get in there and play there easily. Like nah, like them some grown men out there too. Like I don't know if anybody's really kept up with it, but the kid from Hampton, I think his last name was Morrow, but he was one of the leading scorers in NCAA this past year, if I'm not mistaken.
get
Um,
into it.
so you know what I'm saying, like it's guys that can bookie out there. So I mean,
Yeah,
I think they should definitely take a serious look at it. I think a lot of kids need to not oversell themselves because they'll go to these, you know what I'm saying, these Power Five schools and end up sitting on the bench where, you know what I'm saying, you can realistically go to the, you know what I'm saying, HBCU or even not instead and get, you know what I'm saying, be on the floor and get the same kind of education and still meet people and still be able to, you know what I'm saying, live your life. But
right,
I mean, it's really depending on what you really want to do. If you cool with just, you know, if you cool with sitting at the P5 school at the end of the bench and saying sway your child around, but you can hang around pros all day long, and that's cool. But if you want to actually, you know what I'm saying, get some work in on the floor, then I think
yeah, and like you said, what a lot of with kids looking at the Power Five schools, it's just Power Five conferences. It's just it's crazy because you'll see a lot of them. Of course, like transfer numbers are just through the roof,
yeah.
and it's just like what what I'm asking you is, what are some of the things you tell a kid when they're looking for a school, like outside of the name, like what do you tell them to look for?
Listen, you're comfortable, like you and your family are comfortable with the coach because at the end of the day, like that's essentially that's your parent, you know what I'm saying, away from your parents. So if you can't trust that you feel like it's not.
Oh, so I can't hear you. It's going in and out.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah.
No, I was saying if it's any inclination that you might be, if that coach might not be take care of you for those next, I'm saying 2 to 3, 4 years, however long you decide to stay, then that's not the school for you. You need to make sure
Hmm.
that you're comfortable there. Make sure that your family can, I'm saying, get to the school. Make sure your family has, I'm talk to the coaches if need be, and make sure that you getting, I'm saying, the actual education because at some point that ball must start bouncing. So if you
Right.
go there and you know what I'm saying, you messing around taking basketball from classes for 4 years, you know what I'm saying, you wasted your time.
Yeah, yeah. Um, what was I gonna say for that? Oh, so looking forward to next season. How many players does Fairmont have returning?
Like I said, we only lost 6 guys. So on our varsity roster, we carry 13 guys. We're losing 6, so we're bringing back. You do the math. I'm terrible at math. Like what, 7, 8 guys.
Okay, okay,
We bring about 7, 8 guys back. I have a couple kids coming in. I'm saying some freshmen coming in. And that might be looking to crack that varsity roster. So
okay,
it's gonna be
okay,
interesting. I think we have another good quality chance of making another state championship appearance.
okay.
Um, like I said, it's really depending on how, you know what I'm saying, well, one, how far this COVID thing goes, and then two, how far, you know what I'm saying, have guys been really taking care of their bodies and, you know what I'm saying, doing the things they need to do so when basketball does pick back up, they can just jump back right into things and not have to take so much time off.
Yeah. Have you heard anything about like what they're trying to do this fall, come as far as schools?
I've honestly heard nothing.
Okay.
I've know as far as school wise, I know I've heard a couple instances where they've this. I know that a lot of kids still have like their laptops for distant learning, so I know that that's always an option.
Okay.
I've also heard that they're trying to figure out a way to do schedules to like waves of students. So like one wave of students come in early, then they'll just sanitize school, and then the next wave will come in. So I'm not sure how they're gonna do it. It's gonna be interesting regardless.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, it definitely stopped. Like you said earlier, for some people, the sports never stopped a little
Yeah, some
bit.
people it's just been going nonstop, and then more power to you. But you know, it's just again, it's a little bit more to life than just playing basketball or any sports. So.
Yeah, yeah, and I, like I'm glad that you're confident enough to say that, because a lot of people, I just feel like they going with the flow just because everybody else going with the flow.
Yeah, like I mean, in theory, like I said, I wish I could be out there. You know what I'm saying, coaching my guys, and even I'm saying getting a little bum in myself. But I got family things. I got 2 kids of my own. Like, I can't be messing around getting my kids sick because I want to go play some street ball.
Yeah, for
That's
what?
crazy.
An
That's
hour
crazy.
or two, an hour or two.
And even if and that's no knock on anybody that is. I mean, if you
Yeah,
are out there doing that, then that's more power to you. But I mean, protect yourself, wear masks. You know what I'm saying? If you're not, if you off on the side of the court, don't be standing right on top of each other. Keep your distance from
right,
people that you don't know.
right. And let's again, like, people are literally just going out there because they see people. Like, if people want to do it, that's their choice, that's their decision. You have the right to do that, but just don't go out there just to be out there. Because now you're just bringing in more risks and all that stuff. Is just crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Before we hop off, any like any plans for you, like basketball? Like, what are you trying to do? Anything personally, or like just future aspirations or goals you have?
Uh, kind of a personal guy as far as goals and everything. And I
Uh,
always want, I'm saying, continue to make it to the next level and continue to
yeah,
advance.
yeah,
But honestly, I'm just going wherever this game takes me. If tomorrow if the ball is stopped for some reason, can't coach no more, then it is what it is. I'm always gonna love the game. I'm always gonna find some way to be a part of it. But I'm just one of those guys. I mean, this is my passion. So if they
right.
tell me, I'm saying, basketball takes me to where I'm cleaning the Capital One Arena, I'm saying, after the games, and that's where I'm at. What I'm saying? If it tells me, well, I gotta go coach the Lakers next week, and I'm coaching the Lakers. Like, it don't matter.
Yeah, yeah. And that's one of the things. Like, again, like when I feel like we met through mutual friends, we met through some good men,
Right.
and we built a basketball relationship. And I was just, before you hopped on, I was just telling people, like, you're one of those people who, like, all right, this was going on in the scene. These the events you need to go to, try to connect with this person. And it was just like, it was good to see like somebody my age that's so deep into the scene. Because a lot of times you get into the basketball scene, it's a lot of politics, but
Real, but yeah, it's real political, man. Real
yeah, yeah,
bad, but that's the way it is.
yeah, yeah. And like me, someone like you always put the kids first. It was always about the kids and basketball. It was never none of the extra stuff. You've been all about like just getting the exposure, getting kids to the right spot. And it's kind of rare to meet, you know what I'm saying? Like, even if we didn't have a relationship, like, it's rare to see that people out here really just doing it for basketball and the kids and not all the extra stuff that come with it.
No, I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I definitely appreciate you tapping in with us tonight, man.
No, definitely, man. Shout out to Six Man, definitely.
I appreciate you. Shout out PYBL, shout out Fairmont. Go ahead and feed those kids. I know how that is.
I know they looking at me right.
All right, bro. You be easy.